Now, let's get ready to hear some exciting updates about Central Access from VP of Engineering and Operations Jimmy Gray and VP of Central Access Chris Montgomery.
Hi, I'm Chris. For this segment, we'll be discussing Central Access. We'll have an overview of the project. We'll talk about Phase 1, which is our core ring. We'll talk about Central Access difference. We're going to discuss our grant areas. We'll also talk about moving past Phase 1, and we'll be discussing the much anticipated map. Our fiber construction started last year on August the 5th, where we set out to build a 400-mile fiber ring to our 24 substations and 6 offices. From this, our board of directors approved us to serve customers in proximity to the 400-mile fiber ring. And this is what we call Phase 1, which again is our core ring. To move past this initial phase, it's important for us to have at least a 35% fiber service rate. We're nearly there, and we will reach the goal. So let's talk more about Phase 1. To date, we have over 1,300 customers connected, receiving lightning-fast fiber-to-the-home service from Central Access. Let's see what some of them have to say about their service.
I now know how my grandparents felt when REA brought in electricity, said a customer from Titus. Working from home has been a challenge. Using a hotspot connection, I worked 12 to 14 hours a day because my connection was very slow. Now, I am able to end my day after 8 hours with confidence that I have completed my daily workload. Thank you, Central Access, said a customer from Prattville. I am so elated to have high-speed internet. All of the big companies would not even think about running lines down to 15 homes. However, Central Access did, and I am so very happy, said a customer from Deatsville. Thank you for providing a great product and experience when no other company would, said Wiley B. of Prattville. I'm telling you, this is amazing for the boonies. Thanks to everyone who worked hard and got everyone hooked up as quickly as you did. We greatly appreciate this, especially during these times. I know I can homeschool my children without worry now, said Shaina C. of Deatsville.
I really wanted to move out to the country, and I had actually heard before we bought this land that you were coming. I didn't know that it was going to be this soon, but I knew that eventually we would get something. We had a mobile hotspot that we used. Considering it was in the middle of COVID and I'm a teacher, it was very spotty. I would have to go outside to Zoom with my students. It was really difficult to do it in the house. And if my own children were trying to do their Zoom and I was trying to do my Zoom, usually one of them didn't work. So it was very hard. Well, my child doesn't bug me anymore every single day asking me. He is a gamer, and it was driving him crazy and me crazy because I have to do a lot of things online, and I am the virtual teacher at school. So I needed to do a lot of things there, and he couldn't play his game. So when we got it, we can all do everything, and it is wonderful. In town, it still was terrible. I'm just saying, you couldn't do a lot of things at one time. You know, I might be in my bed.
All right. Phase 1 is broken into 4 parts. Part 1 is complete with fiber construction, and home installations continue to take place in this area. And while doing these, our construction crews are completing parts 2, 3, and 4. Phase 1 fiber construction is on track to complete by the end of the year, and installation teams will continue to complete home installations. So next is Central Access difference. Other than the fact that we're providing fiber service in many areas where no one else has been willing to serve, do you know the Central Access difference? We're providing lightning-fast service using fiber technology. It's the fastest available internet technology. It uses fiber optic cable to transmit large amounts of data quickly. providers utilize fiber, but it may not actually go all the way to the home. Central access, you get fiber to the house. That's every house. Coax cable is used in some areas as an old technology. It's not reliable and it's not as fast. So with fiber to the home from Central Access is the way to go. No outdated coax cable are used here. Our speeds are symmetrical. This means that your download speeds and your upload speeds are the same. This enables you to download information such as movies, websites, gaming, and web meetings, and then upload data when needed. This could be files, pictures, and home movies of your grandchildren. This is only possible with fiber to the home technology. We're locally owned and operated. Even though Central Access is not a co-op, it's guided by the same principles and values as Central Alabama Electric Cooperative. We know the need for service in this area because we live here and we work here too. We're working hard for our neighbors and our friends, and your satisfaction is our top priority. And now here's Jimmy Gray, Vice President of Engineering and Operations, to continue a Central Access review.
Thanks, Chris. Building a fiber to the home broadband network not very profitable, and that's the reason most of our members don't have quality internet service. So to help with this, we've been exploring grants, both federal and state, to help fund our project. And even though we haven't received all of the grants, we have received a few. Extremely grateful for those because they will help build out the broadband network to our entire service area. If you're in one of these grant areas, I know you've heard announcements and you think, here we come, but we have to walk through the steps of the grant to make sure when we build the grant, we get that money for the grant. So if you live outside those grant areas, some of the things the grants have are requirements on when the construction has to be complete. So they can affect the timelines just a little bit. So we're working to both grant areas and outside. We will continue to pursue grants to help support this project. And you can learn more about this in the broadband availability in your role session beginning here at 5:30. Now, as we move on past the core ring, we will need a 35% take rate, and we're almost 90% there. Outside of this grant area, deciding on where to construct will be determined by you, our members. Soon we'll be releasing a map of our service area, breaking it up into zones, and you, our members, will determine the demand for the construction route in the future. This makes it important to let your neighbors know about Central Access and encourage them to follow through to sign up the process with centralaccess.com. We're also willing to send you some flyers so you can pass out in your community, and we're also willing to host virtual meetings in your neighborhood. Just to give you a scope of our current project, phase one, our core project, includes over a 400-mile ring connecting all of our substations and offices and nearly 1,000 miles of fiber. Now, our entire service area is over 5,500 miles of lines throughout our area. So we got a long ways to go, but we're closer to having service than we've ever been. And most of our area wouldn't have service if we hadn't taken this project on. So in conclusion, we know how critical broadband is, and especially with COVID-19, it only intensified the need. Our goal is to make sure that everyone in our service area who wants high-speed quality access has it. So now, Chris, we'll take some questions if we have any questions that come in.
Yes, we have a couple. A lot of people said they've seen a lot of our crews, very thankfully they've seen a lot of our crews on some of the paved roads, and so that leaves some people more in the rural areas, the dirt roads. Are we going off those as well, or is it mainly just on that main paved core?
With our core going to all of our substations, we're going all through our entire area. We're going down paved roads, dirt roads, no roads, crossing over the rivers. We're going everywhere because our substations serve all of our members. So we'll have fiber at every one of our substations and our offices. So we're scattered all through our service area.
I had another one as well. A lot of people are wanting to know what's going to happen after phase one. Some people call it phase two. When do we think that might begin?
You want me to tackle that one?
Go ahead.
All right. After we get the core ring up and get all of our equipment in and fiber between our substations and offices, we're going to start on this. We've got a state grant, and we're starting to work on that. And we have a time period of 2 years to get that in, and we've already started working on that. And after that, it's going to be dependent on the map we release in the zones. And that, like we talked about, the more people that sign up, that will drive where our construction route will go in the future.
I had a question here about Alabama Power customers. A lot of our customers are CAEC members. What if they are not a CAEC member? Would they still be available to have this service?
That's a great question. We are working through the process to get our customers that are on Alabama Power pole lines. What we're working through is there's an attachment agreement that's required for us to legally attach to Alabama Power's pole line. So we're working on that. We're in negotiations. They want us to do it as well. We certainly want to serve all customers that we can reach. So we are working through that process now.
Some people were wondering, they may already have an internet provider. Is there a way that they can check their speed, maybe compare it to what we're offering? Because ours starts at 200, correct? Mm-hmm. So wondering if how that would, is there a way they can compare it up and down?
There are various websites that have speed tests. You can go to these and check your speed, and just try it on different computers. So some of your older computers may not be able to take the full speed you have, and your newer computers, they can usually take that full speed. So just make sure if you do a speed test, make sure your equipment can handle the speed that you're receiving, because sometimes that is an issue. But yeah, there's plenty of places to go and check that speed.
Chris, one, you had pointed out one of the main differences we have is fiber to the home.
Correct.
And someone was wondering, and I know I hear a lot of people say, well, I have DSL or something. What is the difference? What makes fiber and how much faster is it?
Well, fiber, of course, is glass, so it's fiber optics, and light is transmitting at the speed of light in the glass. So that is fast. So that's really the difference, whereas with DSL, that's on copper lines. And there's resistance on copper, so there's only a certain amount of speed that will go through there. Plus, with copper, over time, there's a bit of corrosion that may take place, so that actually will slow down service as well.
And this one actually ties into it. We talked about it's light, correct? That's what
Yes.
fiber runs on. I know we've made some posts about it on our social media pages about splicers.
Yes.
And that's what actually helps get that light. What is it? Because some people we talk about, well, I've seen a crew up the road. What are they doing in that truck? So what is a splicing crew? What are they doing in that little truck?
So yeah, the truck with the trailer. So with that, there's splicers that literally are splicing individual fibers together. That's what's required in order to get fiber to each home. So inside that trailer, the splicer will go, he'll take the line, he'll lay it out. It does it clean and neat, and there's a lot of prep process that's required. But once he's complete, all the fibers will be spliced together. They'll be able to provide the service to the home again, and then they'll set that back up on the pole and then move on to the next location.
And they have air conditioning, which is pretty nice this time of year.
It is needed this time of year.
Definitely. One was, okay, so somebody was asking about those fibers, and this is a good question. So we said we have all those little tiny fibers, and that looks like a power line, but it's not, but it's the same thing. It looks like it. So does each house have their own fiber line? Is that how that works?
Absolutely, that's correct. So each home will get their individual fiber. So your home, your business, everyone does get the individual fiber to the house.
Someone had a question. I know one of the things we did in the beginning was expedite the launching of the fiber drops, the going off the main lines and going to the homes. And someone was asking, what's the time difference in getting that box on the side of their house, also known as NID?
Correct.
It's a nice little guy.
Nice little fellow.
It's a good guy to have around. If that little NID in the fiber drop, what all has to happen for that actually to be coming on? Because it doesn't necessarily mean they're getting internet right then, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So what we wanted to do is get our network out, get it built as quickly as possible. So we do have to do that in stages, which it is time consuming. So what we realized is as the mainline fiber was being placed, we could go ahead and start placing the fiber service drops to the customer's home, place the little gray fella, the NID, on the side of the house as well. So once that's placed, the main line fiber is placed, the splicer in their trailer with air conditioning will then come in, splice everything up, and then we're taking a couple of steps out of the process. So we actually are making the installation quicker by doing that. So once again, once the NID is placed on the house, what's the time frame? It really depends on where the splicers are and where we are in lighting up that section or that zone the customer's in.
someone was asking our speeds. We have a good variety: 200, the 200, 500,
200, 500,
and the 1 gig, which
is,
sounds like a lot.
That is 1,000.
What would maybe an average house need, or what would be the need for a gig? Because some people are not sure what to get because they may not had that speed. So which should they start off at one, or if they have a certain lifestyle, like a gamer, should they do a bigger package? Because most people just aren't sure about that.
Absolutely, and that's a great question. So your smart TVs, your HD TVs, each television runs about 25 megabits, I believe, if you're watching a high-definition movie. So when you start looking at how many televisions you have, how many children you have, do they all have a smartphone, do they have some type of computer device, all these items start pulling bandwidth away from the service. Nowadays, you have washers and dryers that are connected by Wi-Fi. Your dishwasher, your refrigerator, all those items start pulling bandwidth. So it really depends on how many items you have in your house.
I need something to get the clothes in the washing machine. Can I do that with the broadband?
We're still working on that.
I was checking, Chris, the other day. I had 21 devices hooked to my internet service at home. So you'd be surprised at how many things you got connected. Maybe my neighbor's connected stuff. I don't know.
It may be.
Might want to check that neighbor.
I need to.
Question, somebody was asking about the equipment. We do provide a router, correct?
That's correct.
And the difference between, some people aren't sure the difference is just between internet and Wi-Fi, what the actual difference is. Some people think, well, if I have internet in my house, I have wireless.
Absolutely. So we have what we call as our residential gateway. That's a quality residential gateway which is providing the service to your home. So you can actually plug into the residential gateway to get your fastest speeds. So if you don't plug in, then you also have the ability to have Wi-Fi service. And with the Wi-Fi service, of course, it's then sending the signal throughout your home. And of course, as the installations take place, the installers do confirm that your signal is going throughout the home, and we do have extenders, access points that are available as well in order to get the larger houses.
My son likes to directly connect in with his Xbox.
Yes.
Says it goes a lot faster. So.
Absolutely.
Question as well about some of those who are outside of the main core that may want to be activated later as we get to that 35% take rate. How could they get some information? Do we have things we can hand out for them to get to their neighbors and their neighborhoods?
As a matter of fact, we do. So we have information literature that's available here. If you were to call in or email, we'd be glad to coordinate getting the information to you, where you can in turn get that information to your neighbor, get them signed up. And that's part of the stuff we're looking at is active zone activation or area activation. So as the neighborhoods grow, as the service the service requests or continue to grow, we're actually able to build into that area. So that'd be fantastic.
I want to sneak one last one in. Someone was asking if they have an underground service going to their home. So, from the pole, from the road to their house, how do we do that? Is there a charge for us to trench that or get that to NID on their house?
Right now in the phase 1 core project, no, there's not, because we're only going so far beyond, outside where we're building the mainline fiber. So we did anticipate and knew we had underground services, but we'll come down, we'll build the overhead to the pole, come down the pole, and go underground. Usually we'll follow where the power is, but sometimes we may go around, whichever's best around the road to get there, and but that's no problem.
Actually, we do have time for one last one that just snuck in. I lied. Somebody was asking about our techs. When they do come in the home, for those who might be concerned about COVID, do we have masks for them that they would wear if they need to?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so as a matter of fact, we do. So our techs, when they do arrive at your home, they'll be wearing a mask. And certainly as the homeowner, if you'd like, you can step aside. You can watch what they do. Stay, keep a 6 to 10 foot distance away from them. But absolutely, your safety is the most important to us in this situation. So booties will be wearing on their shoes, keep your floors clean, but also they'll be doing masks. And after that, they'll be doing they're sanitizing their hands. So absolutely.
Hands before they come in.